Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of our Monday Night Wars What If series in TEW 2020. I, of course, am CR Daredevil, bringing you all of the live action here tonight, as we are just a few weeks out of, actually we're just 13 days out from Starrcade 1995 and the big triple threat main event for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Ric Flair defending the title against Sting and Vader. Of course, we've got a bunch of other matches potentially announced for the show, some even starting to be announced for the show. I believe this show is going to start shaping up very quickly, including here tonight. And no better time to dive right into the action than right this second as we dive into a pre-show bout featuring Hugh Morris defeating Ricky Santana in 8:03 by pinfall. 45 rating for the match, 44 from Hugh Morris, 36 from Ricky Santana, who was really off his game. Just a basic pre-show match, nothing special about it. Another pre-show bout that featured the Faces of Fear defeating the Armstrongs in 7:23 when Meng got a submission victory over Scott Armstrong. 53 rating for the match, 48 from Barbarian, 60 from Meng, 39 from Scott, 42 from Steve. Yeah. I didn't do anything with the Faces of Fear and Harlem Heat this week because, or at least on this Nitro, because I have plans for it, which you'll see later in the show. We open up Monday Nitro here in front of 3,685 people in the Manatee Civic Center with a 79 rated segment featuring Roddy Piper backstage in his office, talking about the three participants in the main event at Starrcade, and says that tonight we have a big time main event to kind of help hype that up, as each of those three men will find a partner and meet in the main event in a triple threat tag team matchup. So that should be a good one. Obviously, Bam Bam Bigelow will be teaming up with Vader. Obviously, Ric Flair will end up picking a member of the Horsemen, and then we'll have to see who Sting ends up teaming up with. But we'll have to see how that plays out in the main event here tonight. After that, Randy Savage comes out, and he's got an in-ring promo where he says that he knows he can't get into the world title picture, the world title match at Starrcade. That's pretty obvious. The match has already been signed. It's already, the only person who could possibly get their way into that matchup is Bam Bam Bigelow. But Savage says, you know what though? While I was fighting for and unfortunately losing the world title match at World War III, Bam Bam Bigelow was guaranteeing himself a shot at the world title between now and next year's World War III. He says, well, Vader's busy at Starrcade. A lot of other people are busy at Starrcade. But the one person who doesn't seem to have a match right now is Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, there is some history between us. There has been lots of fights, lots of back and forth action. And I feel as if our issues are not done yet. So, Mr. Bigelow, Bam Bam, whatever, if you are interested, if you're not a coward, then you will meet me in the ring at Starrcade. Crowd's going crazy. They want to see Bam Bam Bigelow versus Randy Savage. Before Bigelow can come out and answer, though, Savage gets jumped from behind by John Tenta for some reason. John Tenta gets the attack, starts beating down Randy Savage, and security comes out to try to break that up, as for some reason John Tenta has an issue with Randy Savage apparently. So there's that. But yeah, we'll have to see if Bigelow ends up answering the challenge from Savage for a Starrcade match, or maybe Savage is going to have a match with Tenta at Starrcade. Who knows what's going to happen at this point. But Savage, trying to get a piece of Bigelow, instead gets a piece of John Tenta attacking him. After that, we get Diamond Dallas Page coming out to the ring, and after commercial break, and he says last week he was goaded into a television championship matchup and was cheated out of his television championship. He said it wasn't very fair. He said he demands a rematch for the TV title, but instead of Johnny B. Bad coming out, it's Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie's like, yo, Holmes, like you made up, it's not my fault that you couldn't beat Johnny B. Bad. It's not my fault that you failed in your opportunity to defeat someone like that. I mean, you talk about being the best of all time, being the television champ, the greatest television champion ever, but you couldn't get it done against Johnny B. Bad, Holmes. And DDP is like, well, you know what? Maybe you know what? I don't want that TV title rematch. I want a shot at the United States Championship. I want you in the ring as Starrcade Eddie. And Eddie's like, you got to earn a title shot against me. I'm not giving out title shots like that. I'm not, I'm not just going to hand somebody who lost last week a title shot. I'm going to issue an open challenge right here for anybody else. Somebody who didn't just lose last week. He didn't just lose a title last week. And then Big Bubba Rogers comes out, and he's going to answer the open challenge that Eddie Guerrero just laid down. So it's going to be Eddie Guerrero versus Big Bubba Rogers for the WCW United States Championship here tonight. And the match gets a 77. Really good stuff. Eddie Guerrero getting the victory in just under 9 minutes with a frog splash, making defense number 1 of the United States Championship. 77 rating for the match. 75 from Eddie, 60 from Rogers. Diamond Dallas Page tried to get involved in the match towards the end, and Rikishi Fatu came out to make the save and fight off Eddie, and also kind of caused a distraction for Rogers. So yeah, Eddie gets the victory, makes defense number 1 of the United States Championship here tonight with a 77 rated matchup. Good stuff. After that, Paul Orendorf is backstage, and he issues he's talking about Johnny B. Bad, talking about the television championship, and says that Johnny B. Bad may have won that title last week at on Nitro, but he still has the recent victory over him. He still has the one up on Bad, and that if Johnny B. Bad was a man like he claims to be, then he will defend the title against Paul Orendorf at Starrcade. And Johnny B. Bad comes into view, with a couple of security, with a security person just randomly showing up just keep them separated, because they've had brawls before in the past. And Johnny B. Bad's like, you know what? I accept your challenge. So it's going to be Johnny B. Bad versus Paul Orendorf for the WCW World Television Championship at Starrcade. After that, we get Cactus Jack and Dustin Rhodes. They come out to the ring and talk about their issues with the Giant and the Taskmaster, and issue a tag team Falls Count Anywhere match challenge for Starrcade, which Taskmaster comes out and accepts after a little bit of rambling from the Taskmaster. So another matchup getting put on the card for Starrcade is going to be Cactus Jack and Dustin Rhodes against the Giant and Taskmaster in a Falls Count Anywhere tag team match. So we'll have to see how that one plays out at Starrcade for sure. 75 rating for that segment. Good stuff there. After that, the Blue Bloods are backstage, and they are not happy. They're complaining once again about the treatment that they've been receiving from Roddy Piper. Gene Okerlund, it says that maybe if they didn't act the way they did, that maybe they'd have better treatment over, to which Regal kind of looks like he's going to backhand Okerlund for a second, kind of does a little threatening backhand kind of taunt there. And Okerlund says, well, what about your feelings about the match coming up next? And Regal and Ian are like, what match coming up next? We don't have a match booked tonight. And Okerlund's like, yeah, it's Earl Robert Ian taking on Scott Steiner here next. And they start freaking out. They're like, what the? Like, they're livid about the idea that this match is happening without them even knowing. So then the Blue Bloods music starts playing, and Ian starts making his way down to the ring without even really being dressed for the match, because he didn't know about the match ahead of time. And in about the Great Heat and Good Wrestling, Scott Steiner gets the victory over Earl Robert Ian 747 by pinfall following botched interference by Squire Dave Taylor, who came out to try to help out Eden. Ended up hitting Eden by accident. So 73 rating for the match. 67 from Eden, 65 from Scott Steiner. And yeah. Didn't work out in the Blue Bloods flavor. The Blue Bloods favor once again, as the Steiners get one up on the Blue Bloods here, and we'll have to see what that means heading into Starrcade, and we'll have to see what's going to happen with Piper and the Blue Bloods. I mean, Piper's not an in-ring competitor, but clearly he's still got it out for the Blue Bloods at this point, so we'll have to see what happens there. After that, we get just a basic little, short little interview with Conan. This was more of just a time filler. Conan just talking about, his history in wrestling, his following in Mexico, all that kind of basic stuff. 52 rating for the segment, not bad. After that, Brian Pillman and Chris Benoit show up, and Pillman says that they want to know who they're going to be defending the tag titles against at Starrcade. Says that they'll take on any team here in WCW because they are the Four Horsemen. They are the standard bearers of excellence, and they could easily take on and defeat any team that WCW would have to offer them. And Piper comes out and says, all right, how about this Saturday night? We have a number one contenders match for the tag team titles. That way you guys can find out who your opponents are going to be. So this coming Saturday night will be a tag team number one contenders match. He doesn't really announce who's in the match yet, but number one contenders tag team match happening this Saturday night to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles at Starrcade. 81 rating for the segment. Good stuff there. After that, Sting is kind of talking about the main event here tonight when Steve Austin comes into view, and the two kind of just nod a respect towards each other, and then Sting starts talking about how it doesn't matter who Flair chooses, and it doesn't matter if they're going up against Bigelow and Vader. Sting and Steve Austin will get the victory here tonight. So it looks like Steve Austin will be Sting's partner here tonight in the Triple Threat Tag Team main event. 84 rating for the segment. Good stuff there. Speaking of that match, an 84 rating Triple Threat Tag Team main event. Sting and Steve Austin defeat Vader and Bam Bam and Ric Flair and his partner Arn Anderson in an elimination matchup, that should not have been an elimination matchup. Ignore all of that. There we go. Ignore that. That didn't. Well, whatever. There. That didn't happen. Steve Austin pins Arn Anderson in the match. In 14:52, Flair was head and shoulders above everybody else. 79 from Vader and Bam Bam. 70 from Steve Austin. 72 from Sting. 76 from Arn. And 91 from Flair. Austin and Sting's in-ring performances were hurt because they apparently don't have any chemistry as a tag team. Good to know. Of course, Bam Bam and Vader have great chemistry. And all of that crazy amount of green there. After that, Steve Austin and Sting, the faces, getting, celebrating that victory when a big old brawl starts playing out, and essentially, Oops. There we go. Big old brawl happens post-match, and Vader and Bigelow are standing tall after the dust settles, so to speak. So Sting and Steve Austin getting some momentum after, Sting getting some momentum after winning the Triple Threat tag match, but Vader getting some momentum with the post-match brawl. So not really a whole lot of momentum for the World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair tonight, but we still got one more show before Starrcade, so we'll have to see who ends up with the most momentum heading into the Starrcade main event for sure. 87 rating for this segment too is good stuff. And we end the show with an 85. Let's go. Increased popularity in 21 regions with some restrictions, but it is what it is. But yeah, strong show as we continue to build our way to Starrcade 1995. We've got the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Ric Flair defending against Sting and Vader. We have the tag team titles are going to be on the line. Brian Pillman and Chris Benoit defending against whoever wins this match on Saturday night. We have the television championship on the line. Johnny B. Bad defending against Paul Orendorf. We have potentially Savage versus Bigelow. We'll have to see if Bigelow ends up actually answering that challenge at all. We have a bunch of other stuff going on there. Cactus Jack and Dustin Rhodes taking on the Giant and the Taskmaster in a Falls Count Anywhere tag team matchup. And just wanted to show you this here. Not going to show you the Saturday night because there was literally nothing that happened on there. There was just a couple of generic matches and some promos. There wasn't anything of note on there. But as you see here, we did get more viewers. The Raw had more viewers, but we did have the higher show rating. We had an 85. Raw had an 83. So we win that one. We win that part at least. But viewership wise, we're still a little bit farther behind. Don't really have too much that we have to worry about with that. Broadcaster wise, we are still kind of in some deals that are kind of restricting for us, but once those deals, I can show that here real quick. So we've got this. We got a couple Japan ones. We've got a graveyard slot for. So once those come up in 3.5 months, then we can increase our range and whatnot there. TNT, that one's fine. The Canada one, same thing again. Once it expires in 3.5 months, then we can fix that so we can get more growth there. Same here, and then yeah. So we'll get to that growth. We just gotta wait 3.5 months at this point. We're at 3.5 in-game months, but it'll be fine. But that is going to do it for us today. Thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate all the support for the series. And we will see you guys next Monday for the Go Home episode of Nitro for Starrcade 1995.